Welcome to Heroes and Droids, your guide to movies, movies, and TV shows about superheroes, sci-fi, Disney, and action. From Marvel to DC, from Star Wars to Star Trek, from James Bond to the Fast and Furious, we will review the theatrical films, the theatrical films and streaming delights you care about most, whether I can say it or not. Tonight we are reviewing WandaVision episode 9, the series finale. Not only is it the series finale, the title of the show is the series finale. There you go.
I guess we're not getting that 10th episode after all.
No, we're not.
Well, there actually were 10 episodes. The Fat Man Beyond, Kevin Smith's YouTube show, they talked to Matt Shackman, and originally they did have enough content to make 10 episodes, but they kind of whittled it down to make everything flow.
Mm-hmm.
And also, there's some deleted scenes involving the rabbit, and to where Monica and the kids and Darcy went down in the basement to steal the book of the Darkhold, and then the bunny hops up on it like, oh, cute bunny. The bunny turns into a demon.
No.
And then they have to run away from the demon. I'm like, I want to see that scene. When are we going to get the Zack Snyder cut of WandaVision?
Here's the difference,
Nobody
though.
want to see that.
WandaVision doesn't need the Zack Snyder cut to be good.
Well, that's true.
I don't think that Joss Whedon is going to need the Zack Snyder cut to be good. We're going to find out soon, but I'm calling.
I want to see the Matt Shackman cut of that scene, because anytime we get more Darcy, I'm all about it.
There you go. Yeah, awesome.
Sorry, I know I threw you off the rails again. Pee pee poo poo.
Pee poo poo. I can't do anything when you do that to me. All right. I'm Ghost Talk Rod, and with me is Christopher Slattery. He's the Slattman. Say hello.
Hi.
All right. Also joining us is podcasting Rockstar and international cosplay queen, Vanessa. How you doing?
Please refer to me as Ralph Boner for the rest of the evening.
Boner!
That is all I will respond to. That or Fietro. We'll carry that over from last week.
All right. Ralph Boner.
Boner.
All right. Stop it. Also joining us, award-winning filmmaker Christopher G. Moore.
What is a season finale if not Disney Plus persisting? That's all I gotta say.
Nah.
Boner.
Ralph Boner. We're just gonna
By the way, Boner, the reason they used Boner is because that was actually the side character in Growing Pains, which Matt Shackman actually had a small part on before he got into the spinoff, Just the 10 of Us. So it's more of a reference to the character from Growing Pains than just a dig joke. But
I mean, the writers worked with what they got.
Okay, what we're going to talk about is WandaVision. Oh, if you're still hanging with us, we love you. All right, episode 9, series finale. Mac Shackman, of course, directed and series creator and all that, along with Jack Schaefer, who wrote it along with Laura Donnie, Peter Cameron, and a host of others who I did not have room to fit, so check them out. Cast includes Elizabeth Olsen, Paul Bettany, Catherine Hahn, and many others, including Evan Peters as Frank Broner. Wanda embarks on I have a feeling that's not the right synopsis, so I'm not even going to read that, but this is the series finale of WandaVision. We have speculated and guessed and pontificated. No, that's not the right word. Maybe it is. I don't know. But anyway, we did all that, and the show happened. Many of us love it. Many of us out there are disappointed. Where do we sit? That's going to be interesting to talk about, and what worked, what didn't work, if anything didn't work. Some people are going to think it all worked, and they won't be wrong. All right, let's do this. Slattman, you are up first. What was your first impression of the series finale?
So back up a couple weeks, and I started thinking that, maybe all these crazy theories that we've come up with are just kind of grasping at straws, and none of that is actually going to happen, and it's going to go in a direction we weren't actually going to expect. And it was going to go in a more obvious direction rather than being like, oh, let's pull in this character from this comic from forever, that not a lot of people have heard of or something along those lines. And then like the day before the premiere or the episode premiered, the director tweeted out and said, I'm really afraid that people are going to be really disappointed because of all the fan theories when they actually see what happens. And I'm here to say I successfully tempered my expectations. Nice. And the finale blew me away.
Nice.
I thought it was very well done. While it was very fun to sit there and to theorize with you guys for the last like couple months, I'm very happy with where it went, and I'm not at all disappointed that a certain doctors didn't show up, whether it was a stretchy arm man or a time bending wizard. And yeah, and I think this was the right way for it to go. I see what they're trying to set up, and I think it's excellent, and I think it's a good finale for what this show was. And it plants enough seeds that the next phase 4, phase next, like whatever phase we're in the MCU, there's enough there that it can grow for the next 5 to 10 years until we get another Endgame level
Mm-hmm.
finale. I'm very pleased with it. And then shout outs to everybody involved, because this series, everything has been amazing, from acting to set design to costume designers to the writers to everyone. It's everyone. It just bravo. It's awesome.
Bravo. I like that. Bravo. All right, Vanessa, you're up next. What was your first impression of the series finale?
I loved it.
Yay.
I absolutely loved it. Everything that happened. And like Chris is saying, we had all the fun theories go on, and sometimes very exhausting theories that people try to drill into your head or try to speak with such confidence. But I'm really pleased with the way it turned out. And I'm sure we'll get more into it once we go full spoilers. But there were so many emotions in this final episode. And there were so many things, shocking things that happened, like genuinely unexpected decisions that were made and choices that are made, and things that just change your perception of characters and what could happen in the future. And there's so many fun things, especially with Wanda. I mean, it is her show, but that I can just think of so many scenes that I'm just like, that's so cool, and that's so cool, and that was so fun, and look how they came around and used this, and I love what they did with this. And I just am so pleased and so looking forward to future Marvel shows based off of this one. I am genuinely impressed at the decision and happy with the decision that they made to release this one first, based on timing or whatever they had to do. But I think it's been a slam dunk, because this has just kicked the door open to these Marvel series.
I so much agree with you. So much agree with you. All right, Christopher G. Moore, you're up next. What is your final thoughts? I'm just going to jump straight to the final. What is your first impression of the series finale?
Well, there hasn't been a show like this in a while. And sadly, we do live in an expectation culture.
Yes, we do.
Which has created toxic fandom to some degree, and it's created other negative aspects. And I really hope that a lot of people if they do have issues with this finale or the show, it's not based on expectations, because just because you wish something can happen or you read something into it doesn't mean it needs to happen or was meant to happen or you're right or wrong. But and I think that in that level of investment that everybody had in this show is what made this show so great. And I think for this to be a Marvel show of all things, you know, this is definitely a show that was made in a way that's non-traditional. I mean, yeah, by the end of it, we do get some of those elements of people battling with powers and stuff, but at the heart of it, it's, you know, like for us that are on like horror news radio, we always talk about like the best horror or those elements where you have that basis for characters and you have that basis for stuff you can relate to, you know. There's always sort of underlying element when it comes to the characters or the issues they're dealing with. And this, you have an overall story about grief. You have an overall story about PTSD. You have an overall story about hurting and how sometimes in that process of hurt, we put blinders on and we want to sort of escape from the hurt and not deal with things. And you have this character with Wanda, and you watch that story arc of how she starts off sort of like, I'm not going to deal with this, so I'm just going to create this fantasy world, to with this finale where she finally has to deal with sometimes how we create situations to where we hurt others in the process of trying us not dealing with our own issues. And then there's this resolution that happens that really works out. So I think this is probably one of the best story act characters in the whole MCU. People can have their own opinions about it, but I feel like this is great. This is amazing. And I think this is just one story. It doesn't necessarily have to create all these new elements to spark other things. It may have those little hint of an atom of something that'll happen later on. And if you have patience, I think Matt Sheckman, if you have patience, the other stuff, some of those theories are going to happen. But I think you have to look at the story itself. And I think this is a perfect arc to that. And I ugly cried at the end of this. I ugly cried. I have a picture of it so you can see how ugly. I ugly cried. I took a picture, but then I looked so ugly in that picture. I didn't want to post it on my Instagram.
Whatever.
So you can sort of see. So that's me ugly crying during watching that, because you have a point and where she has to deal with these issues of the loss of someone she loves, the loss of family members, the whole, there's moments where she remembers the happy time she had was when she was a kid with her parents. And then she lost her parents. She lost her brother. She's lost this person that she's loved. And then she has by the end of this, the possibility of losing these new kids that she has. And so, we had the previous week where we had that famous line that what is grief if not love persisting, and now you have this beautiful sequence between her and Vision where not only do you see her ability to resolve the issues and realizing that I have to let go of some of this pain and I have to live in real life, but at the same time you have Vision who shows his level of humanity in that last moment. Mm-hmm. And you see that, and that the whole scene, I guess we're not getting spoilers yet, but anyway, she has that line. And so, I don't know, I love this show so much. And granted, I did want to see the bunny turn into a demon, but, and I know, I understand that if we're like, oh, well, we're hoping this person might show up, or this might be Mephisto, or this might be Nightmare, blah, blah, blah. But I think that's also the fun of this show, is not knowing what's going to happen, the what ifs, and then being surprised by this happens, or having fun with this character, or even those little moments. I mean, even like there's even a Blade Runner reference on the theater marquee that ties into that scene where the one character, the android character, is talking about how he's going to die and how he has all these fake memories, and it ties into that. And you have that theoretical scene between the two visions. I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's to sort of balance those super hero elements, but have those human elements as well. This is when Marvel does it right. And and people give Disney crap, but Disney does it right to allow this show, which is such a wackadoo show. It's not. I mean, there's still people that are upset about those first 2 episodes. Like, what is this craziness? I think it's one of the most brilliant things that Marvel has ever done, or Disney's ever done. And it has that human element to it that makes that heart to it that makes you care and want to see the arc to how it plays out, regardless of those expectations you may have. So I don't know. I probably a good cry just talking about it, but I love the ending. I never thought I would get. I mean, I love these characters, and these characters aren't the main characters, and I'd rather than all these other bigger characters show up because it would take away from them and what they're dealing with. So I don't know. It's such a brilliant concept, and I think they resolved it in a way that's perfect, and it still sets it up for other things. We get to see, stuff that happens in the Doctor Strange 2 and some of these other series. I don't know. I loved it. This is one of my brilliant shows, and I'm not sure we'll have many experiences like this in the future, like we did with this, because this is once, only a few times in your lifetime do you have those shows where everybody's talking about it. And I think it would have been wasted as a bingeable thing. I think you have to watch it each week so everybody can talk about it and bring up their theories. And sometimes your theories pan out, and sometimes, that's exactly what I was thinking. I don't know. I mean, how many shows a week? I mean, I guess Mandalorian, we had a little bit of that, but how many shows do we could sit here every day talking every week? Like, oh man, I wonder what's going to happen. I mean, Disney Plus at midnight, their service went down because everybody was trying to. Yeah. So anyway, I can't say enough good things about this show. I think it's brilliant, and all the people who helped to make it happen, I think, deserve. I mean, I think this is one of those shows that'll be dissected in years from here to where everybody be like, how people will try to replicate it, but you just can't. It's such an original, interesting idea that it's hard to believe it's got the Marvel title above it.
Yeah, it really does. I was one of the ones that I happened to be up at. I got up at 3 a.m. and I turned it on, and it took 5 minutes or 10 minutes for it to crash and finally play. I kept getting the error, but it did finally play. So that's how my level of excitement for this was. I never did that for any other show. Maybe going to a midnight movie, but to get up at 3 a.m. to watch a show, I haven't done that before. And I had to. I didn't want to be spoiled. That was the big thing, right? I didn't want to be spoiled. I didn't want to read a headline that gave away some kind of crazy thing. And
my body woke me up at 3 a.m. and I was thinking, is my body trying to watch it as soon as possible? If I wasn't feeling a little sick, I probably would have watched it or tried to watch it like you did.
Your subconscious. So I totally love this series. I really enjoyed. Totally love. I'm going to say totally love the finale. I do think it has some flaws. There are a couple things that bother me. Not enough to dislike it, but enough to bring things up. And so I mean, I'm not. I don't even know if I want to, but I mean, the things that we can talk about. The level of Marvelness at the end of for the finale. The previous 8 episodes were so different than Marvel films that I really grew to appreciate what they were doing. And this one kind of felt like it slipped back into it. And some of that worked. Other parts of it just felt a little like, oh man, I was really missing what, like the first half of the series was doing. Right. It was unfortunate. I mean, looking at it, it's unfortunate because that's what the story demanded. So it's not like a mistake. It's just like this weird dichotomy that you bounce into and you go, oh wow, okay, that was unexpected. I'm not entirely satisfied with Wanda walking away and that scene that she has with Monica at the end. It is Monica, right? Did I have that right? Yeah, Rambo, right? for what they're after, it works because it's basically the last stage of grief, right? The acceptance. But for in the story, in the context of the story, especially in the context of where they are physically located in that story, that didn't work for me. To me, there was repercussions and consequences weren't had, and they, something felt off for me. And that's my personal take. Again, it doesn't take away from the overall enjoyment of the entire series. It was just like, Ralph Bohner didn't sit with me. I'm sorry. I know it doesn't have to be, it doesn't have to be Magneto, but the whole Ralph Bohner thing, I set myself up for that. I will admit. And I hear rumors that Ralph Bohner's story is not over. I hope that's true, but I feel like I'm just getting sucked into another trolling.
I think you are.
I think I might be. And also, okay, so it is Wanda's story, and I really think, and also Vision's for that. I will say that Vision is a big part of this, because Vision is actually in this case more an extension of Wanda than we really knew even then, right? But we introduced a couple other characters that kind of got the short stick at the end, given how much time they were given in some of the previous episodes. Monica's one, Darcy's another. I think Jimmy Woo got his pretty well. So that kind of let me down a bit. But again, I feel like I'm nitpicking because really enjoyed this. I've watched it many times. I have watched every episode many times. I don't think I've done that ever where I didn't do it for Mandalorian. Not every episode. There were many episodes I would go back and watch right again, that finale, right? But this one I had to watch every single one. I had to watch it again and again. It was just like so good. So I feel like I'm giving the wrong impression, but it's just some things that I wanted to bring up that kind of don't make me as high and excited as the three of you guys, but I feel like maybe I should be.
Well, it's the thing is, no movie, no show is perfect, and I think I can understand that. And I know that they, I know with the show, listening to what Matt Shackman had to say on Kevin Smith's show, COVID did affect some of their post-production stuff. And so some of the stuff didn't work as well as they wanted or whatever. But I mean, yeah, there's a lot of stuff that's kind of dropped, we never really find out who the person is the FBI, had in, whatever they call it, where they,
right. They were in, yeah. Which wouldn't have been a thing if we didn't talk about it every week. Right. Yeah.
And the Matt Shackman was talking about, like, he didn't realize that people were going to think the engineer was going to be like Rex Reed. They just
Reed Richards.
Reed Richards. Rex Reed.
Rex Reed is he reviews movies, or used to anyway.
That would be even funnier if it's Rex. No, and then it was like, oh, we need to focus less on who this engineer is or whatever. So yeah, I mean, it's, and I can understand, and I think, again, a lot of it does have to do with expectations of what you expect out of it. I think, I think anytime that you have a character from the other sort of side of the Marvel universe with the X-Men films, and you incorporate him, then people, oh man, he's bringing him into the universe. But it's more to them, it was more of a Dick Sargent parody of like replacing actors with other actors. It had more to do with that than anything else. It was more of a meta joke than an actual. But then, like, you include that, and then everybody's like, oh yeah, we get one of our most favorite characters from the X-Men gets to show up, and he doesn't. And so I think that kind of, and then when you make it
there was baggage, right? There's baggage.
Well, yeah. And then you make his name like a penis joke, and then people are like, oh my God, how can you do that? I mean, that was I saw like a million TikToks about it, where people getting their underwear in a wad about it. So it's like,
well, that just means it could have been Ralph Peter, right? So
it's Disney Plus. I mean, They can get away with boner, but not.
Not Peter.
Yeah, that's. But yeah. I mean, I can understand that, and I think that a lot of these side characters that you kind of wish there were more of, we will get to see more of it. We'll get to see more Monica in the Captain Marvel film, and she might incorporate into the Secret Wars stuff as well. So a lot of these characters, we hopefully, I mean, I know Darcy's going to pop up in some other things that she's mentioned. Kat Dennings mentioned that she's in some of these other projects. So we will get to some of these characters, and hopefully maybe we'll get like a Woo series at some point.
Oh, I hope so. Oh man.
So yeah, I mean, I can understand that. But you also the main focus is on other characters, so it what should you do? We really want to focus on? Do we have to like flesh out every little element of the extended universe?
Yeah, that's what I kind of liked about it. It finished up with our outside characters pretty well, because the main focus is Wanda and Vision, right? And I appreciated that, with all the theories and everything aside, how fun, I wanted to see Reed Richards. That would have been awesome. I really appreciated that they allowed Wanda and Vision to resolve their show. They didn't need to bring someone in. They didn't need a big secret. They didn't need a big reveal or anything. Even in the post-credit scenes, they allowed the show to be about Wanda and Vision. And to me, that made a big impact, especially when you think about every Marvel stinger ever is introducing something else or some other grander idea. And this did that, but it still kept the focus on Wanda, and on Monica, in the first one. But I liked that. I didn't so much have a problem with not getting enough resolution in our outside characters. I think like you're saying, we're gonna see them again.
Well, yeah, and I think if they brought in her real brother from the universe and reanimated him or something, that would have taken away from her reanimating Vision. I think it would have, it would have taken the focus off of that. So I kind of like that side venture of that.
Yeah, and the between her and Vision.
Yeah, I think it was an incredibly smart decision. It just, I guess they weren't expecting so much investment in theories. I mean, it is quite extraordinary what has happened. But let's change focus just a little bit and talk about the finale, the final two battles, because I was genuinely surprised how Wanda resolved her battle with Agatha Harkness. I thought that I did not see that coming and totally loved it.
Oh my God. Me too. I remember the first thing thinking was like, oh my God, she learned. She learned what to do next. I absolutely, talking about the ruins in particular in the battle, like that was such a cool, fun moment and a powerful moment. Like, I'm not a dummy. Like, I may not know as much as you, but I can learn. Moment.
It was a trick upon a trick, because then she did like the mind thing to Agatha, and Agatha sort of turned the tables on her with the coven or whatever, and then we find out later, oh well, behind the scenes she created the ruins she for somebody who doesn't know, somebody who doesn't know about magic or doesn't know about the real how to use the magic, she's taken in the information and she's just as sneaky as Agatha in that respect.
Yeah, that's one of the best things I got out of watching it a second time, was noticing that she was missing on purpose, and that she was hitting the wall. And when you see the outside shot of Jimmy Woo and the FBI showing up, or CI, whatever they were, you see them hitting the wall, and they're hitting each of the segments, and it was just like, oh wow, that's extraordinary. What a great way to do that. And it's there right in front of us, but I didn't see it until the cloud started to break and you see the ruins. And
such a good callback.
It was great.
I love that. And I loved Agatha. I love Agatha's character development. I love their battle. I love how it shows how she still would have done anything and still would have been a naughty witch, and I'm probably jumping ahead here in talking about Agatha, but the way that her character was resolved is both
Mhm.
heartbreakingly cruel, but deservedly so.
Appropriate, right?
Right? And
And
leads to maybe, yeah. Are you going to say it? Are you going to
yeah,
say it?
the best part about it is that they didn't kill her off.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
they've done with a lot of villains in previous stuff, which means that they probably have an inkling of a
Yes.
plan.
I
Yeah.
hope
Well,
so. I
well,
hope so.
Yeah, and I think that's cool. I mean, we all love Agatha, so we want to see a return. At the same time, we also get to see sort of like her in that private hell that the other people in that community were dealing with. Because when she switches her and she's like, okie dokie, artichoke, you can sort of see in the eyes, like, I'm trapped inside this.
Yeah, that was, yeah. I mean, I believed her when she goes, that's cruel, and it is. It's a little bit of a dark side to our hero. We also got to talk about the visions. And Slattman, I want you to step up here. Are we satisfied with the resolution between the internal vision, the vision of the Hex, and the new spectral vision, who gets his lights switched back on, if you will?
Yeah, I think it's great. I think it's great because it's a better resolution than it led to a better resolution for Wanda and Vision, the couple. If they had been like merged into the same, if like Vision, like White Vision had sucked like absorbed Vision and they become one, then Wanda wouldn't have gotten the resolution that she got.
Right.
By being able to say goodbye and all that. But that scene was excellent. The from them fighting and like going like sucking each other in and like in the like forehead blast and everything, like all of that was excellent. But then the fact that it was resolved with words instead of fists was
great? Yeah,
was great. And I loved how White Vision was, I am Vision, and just flew away. I guarantee you that they're gonna write him back into Wanda's story somehow. If he was able to get all of the memories back, and then he was able to, and he learns how to be human again, or how to feel like a human, I guess is a better way to put it. I think he might be, I mean, even without the Infinity Stone, he might still be an excellent character and an excellent trump card for whatever this phase has in store.
They're definitely going to have to decreepify him though, because when his eyes turned back into like human eyes, I was like, that's creepy. I can't look at that.
No creepy. I they also did a little bit of a power check with him, right? Because not having the stone, depowers him a bit, makes him a little bit more of a character they can manage. And
they don't have to use Thanos to be the only thing that can defeat Vision.
Kind of the problem they're having with Ms. Marvel right now, or Captain Marvel.
Captain Marvel.
I do kind of wish that I understand why they used Paul Bettany's voice, but a part of me kind of wishes that because he didn't have the Vision inside him, like he was the external shell of the Vision, I wish he would have sounded more like Ultron until the climax of that fight, when Vision goes boing.
Yep, a little Spader would have gone a long way.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I could kind of hear it. I could kind of hear it, but I wish it would have been a little bit more Ultron-y or more Jarvis-y even. Like,
I don't know. He still was doing something different with it. He almost like this weird side lip thing.
It was modulated different.
Yeah, it was kind of weird, and I kind of like that, to where
a little bit more robotic.
Yeah.
And what was he doing to Wanda? It looked like he was going to crush her head.
He was like cracking her skull.
He was.
That expression on her face. Oh my gosh.
Seriously.
All right, we got to talk about Wanda, but before we do, let's talk about the kids really quick. The kids show off a little bit of more powers. They also show off that they're very much tied to the hex, right? When the hex starts to disappear, they do as well. And then we get their resolution. And then we get
do we?
Or do
And-
we
and
don't
then-
see
and-
them disappear?
and then, well, that's true.
They
and
close
then
the door on them.
And also with the
buggers.
stinger,
And the stinger.
the
Yeah.
post-credit stinger. There's a
the
post-credit stinger.
Nexus.
There's a post-credit stinger. Yep. So we got to know about. Yep.
Did she find the Nexus?
She's going to. She didn't.
Yeah.
She's
So
going to.
they're out there somewhere, and she's all right. Okay, so I guess we got to go to that finale.
So- With the one fun are we talking about the post-credit scene yet?
we have to now. that we
Okay,
mentioned
so
that.
one of the really cool things is in Doctor Strange, he had to like be unconscious to astral project, right?
Yes.
She was doing it while conscious and
Mm-hmm.
making freaking tea.
Yep,
Yeah,
yep.
I mean that's what they said, that she's more powerful than the Sorcerer Supreme. Like that's scary, right?
Yeah,
I
but
love that. Oh,
She's only got one book though, and it's
Well,
it's not a good book.
That and now after I saw someone mention it, all I can see is the evil cabin from Evil Dead when the camera rolls in
yeah.
and then she's reading the Book of the Dead. So the whole time I'm thinking, I feel like
I wonder if Raimi filmed that scene.
No. You know what I really that's funny. That's funny. You know what I really thought as we were going in? I was like, is this gonna be Wolverine? Are we gonna see Wolverine out here all of a sudden? They're gonna throw him in here.
Yeah, Hugh Jackman at the end.
Yeah, out in Canada or something. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, but I was waiting for it too. I was like, okay, is this where Doctor Strange is coming in? Is this somebody? Is this? And then it
Is
was
she
her.
gonna like knock on the door and Doctor Strange is gonna open it?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
that would, like,
But this was great.
But what they did totally satisfied me and beat my expectations.
Mhm.
I will admit that, and I loved her sitting there, doing her little thing, and
Yeah.
it ends with the voices of Billy and Tommy going.
well
"Mom,
that and they play a creepier version of the Doctor Strange theme during that as well.
Oh, is that what
So-
that
Did you
is?
hear that
Okay.
too? Okay.
So
yeah, I know
it
that
plays
too.
into like,
Oh.
because they say that like once you get into it, is it gonna again? Is she gonna tap into more evil?
Can I bust out a theory?
Bust
Which
it
you guys
out.
probably already know, like, but the fact that her going to find her kids, it's what is going to split everything, split the multiverse
Yeah.
open, her trying to get her kids, and that's how it's gonna like be the multiverse of madness. Her trying to find
you're saying that she's gonna open the door for Spider-Man?
the Spider-Verse. I think that her looking for her kids is gonna crack everything open and lead to all these multiple dimensions crossing.
Maybe that's
over.
why this one didn't get as weird, like with the resolution, as we were hoping, because it's setting up all the weird that we're gonna get.
I think
Well,
so.
you know, the last Spider-Man movie took place 8 months after this, so maybe that's why J. Jonah Jameson shows up in
Oh.
That's
Spider-Man.
right. That's right. And it's the start of all the thing.
That could maybe that's when the split.
I
I'm
forgot
I-
that.
Because I think the one thing most people I saw people pointing out on TikTok is the teacher that keeps talking about witches. It's witches. So then it makes WandaVision seem feels like
Mhm.
makes so much sense.
Yeah, yeah, I read that too. So, I mean, in order to make her a villain, right? If we're going to cast her as a villain, but actually not a villain,
Well, the best
that
villains, have, believe what they're doing is right, or have the, really strong motivation in that respect, right?
mhm.
It's very deep, very personal, and they totally believe it, and the that's why certain villains really resonate and work.
So do you think that maybe the resolution that Wanda might get, way down the road, like who knows how many shows and movies and stuff, is that Vision, the Vision that escaped the hex and everything, he's gonna come back and he's gonna talk her off the bridge of, bringing destruction upon the world.
Yeah, I think he just wrote the ending to her arc. Yes, I think he just called it.
What a way to this is so petty, but what a way to do the Phoenix saga without people being like, "Ugh, I'm so over it." Like a way to execute a story like this over such a long time over so many movies and to not feel tired of it and to not want to know more about it and follow this story even further, because I know how tired I personally got of the X-Men constantly focusing on the Phoenix Saga.
Right,
Always
right.
the Phoenix Saga. Always this boring. This is such a good way to execute a story like that successfully.
Well, part of the problem is that X-Men never really did the Phoenix Saga justice.
Correctly, yeah. They
Well,
didn't do
I
it.
think you have to create the humanity around the character for it to work, you know.
Yeah.
And I think a good example of that is probably the Into the Spider-Verse film.
Mhm.
The main villain in that, you know, he's basically sort of doing what Wanda may do, or the Scarlet Witch may do, where he's trying to open up these multiple universes so he can find like his family that died.
Yeah, what a great take on the Kingpin. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's, to me, that's when a villain isn't just a villain to be a villain. There's some humanity, or there's a reasoning behind why they, you know, certain things play out is because of loss or those kind of things. And you have Wanda, who's, you know, as she's searching for her children, she's willing to split open, you know, time and space to sort of find these, and doesn't realize, and the same way that she created this world and affected all these people around it, now she's going to affect multiple universes, alternate universes because of it. And then Doctor Strange has got to comment and sort of like, oh, maybe I'll help you get your kids, but we need to fix this as well. And then you don't realize all these other, well, I'm doing like my magic stuff. Yeah, you do all that to sort of to find a way to fix it, you know, without screwing everything up and leaving a fire in your wake.
Well, I think we're all in agreement. We're definitely going to see Billy and Tommy again, right? So,
Yeah.
Well, I think so. I mean, and I'm sure that they want to create the next young group of Avengers or variations of that. Was that what the West Coast Avengers was? Was that the younger or
Young Avengers?
Young Avengers, yeah. So I mean, I'm assuming this is probably what it's going to be set up in the future, so that they can, because a lot of these people aren't going to be are going to be old in the tooth when it comes to
at some point they got to
multiple.
do it. Yeah.
I mean, at some point, the people in the Avengers now, they're gonna go the way of Captain America or Iron Man, and then they're gonna have to be retired and be replaced.
Oh man, can you imagine all of the Avengers? They're old, and they put them all in a rest home, and then Wanda creates WandaVision again.
So I saw
Marvel, call me.
I saw a funny theory that when they open up all of the alternate dimensions and stuff, that Chris Evans is going to come back and he's going to be like Captain Hydra or something.
I really hope they do that. I mean, there was a rumor that's going to happen.
And that's going to be the next Captain America movie. It's going to have to be Bucky versus evil, the communist Captain America. Because that's such a cool comic. I remember that comic when and it's such a cool story.
Yeah,
it'd be cool. I mean, yeah. Although I don't know if you guys thought, I posted on our little chat thing. Some people think that because Bruce Campbell has a cameo in Doctor Strange 2, that he's going to show up as Ash from Evil Dead, because he shows up in one of the comics.
Yeah, he showed up in the Marvel.
I know that me and Vanessa would love that. If that happened, because Sam Raimi's directing it.
Anything could happen.
Although also, you know, he was supposed to play what's the guy with the bubble head?
Yeah.
In Spider-Man.
Magneto. I'm not
Mysterio.
Yeah.
Bruce Campbell was supposed to show up in a cameo as Mysterio if Sam Raimi either was going to, I think he was either going to be in Superman, not Spider-Man 3 or Spider-Man. He had an idea for Spider-Man 4, but anyway, they actually had sketched out what Bruce Campbell was going to be as Mysterio. And can you imagine if an alternate universe Mysterio was Bruce Campbell? I don't know. I know I'm focusing too much on Bruce Campbell with this, but I can't get enough of Bruce Campbell, and anytime he gets to work with Sam Raimi. But yeah, I mean that's the cool thing about the multiverse thing, is like you have so many possibilities to doing a lot of cool stuff you normally can't get away with, because it's not the regular universe. So you can have all these wacky characters and have them show up because they're just usually probably just a cameo or just a small blip.
I mean, they manage like a perfect example of that is the Spider Ham in the Into the Spider-Verse.
Who thought we'd ever see that?
Like
Ever.
imagine like the a Howard the Duck movie.
Oh,
Anyone?
Well, there was one, but
Oh no, a new one.
well, I know. Hopefully, we have less duck boobies. But,
Nothing can top the first one. Okay.
Oh my God! Everything can top the first one.
That was a classic
Oh, yes.
for a child.
yeah, I know. There's the thing is this does open up a lot of opens up a lot of cool things that could happen in the future. And
What if the What If show is actually what some of the other universes are, instead of being this non-canon show that they keep saying that it might be.
wow.
What if?
Well, if that's the case, I just wanted to go full Marvel zombie then. 'Cause
Oh,
I
don't
Don't you remember seeing that in the trailer? That looks like the best one.
It does.
Well, it does, and it's like, and I'm wondering. I know this is probably spins off away from WandaVision, but I think with the Doctor Strange movie, Scott Derrickson was originally directing it, and he had they sort of had conflicts with ideas and stuff. But I know that they wanted to make that like an actual horror, like Marvel horror film, especially if it involves nightmare or whatever with nightmares and stuff. Now they have Sam Raimi involved. I'm wondering what level of that is going to be into that, because I think that's the one thing they haven't really tapped into is the horror level of the Marvel universe.
Yep. We're definitely going to get it.
Although we get like reanimated witch corpses in this
That was
finale.
awesome. Though. That was really cool.
I was like, wow, this is going. I like this. I want to see more of this.
And we got a great homage to the Wizard of Oz. I'm just saying.
Oh well, yeah, the whole time, and your little dog too. I mean, they've been doing this throughout the series.
Shoes.
But the boots underneath the car.
Oh yeah, that was perfect. Perfect.
I just wanted them to roll up
I know. I did too.
That would have been
I did too.
perfect.
a little too on the nose.
Yeah, that might
Wow.
be. It was close enough. It was good enough. All right. I suppose we should wrap this up because we got to give our final thoughts about the series, our score 1 to 5, and our favorite scene of this episode. Oh my. If you're still listening, we want to thank you for hanging out with us. We hope you've enjoyed not only this review, but all the reviews for the other 8 episodes. Check them out and look for us to pick up soon with Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Can't wait. Are we going to do like a best of series for this one too? I don't know. There's some discussion going to have to happen after the show. But if you're still with us, thank you so much. If you want to help us out, it's really easy. All you have to do is hit the subscribe button or share with a friend. That's all. Doesn't cost anything. Really easy to do. If you want to get a little more involved, hit the like button. Woohoo! Leave us some comments. What are your theories? Are you pissed off? It's Ralph Boner.
Ralph, we finally found out who Ralph was.
We found out who Ralph was. I like that.
And apparently he's got a boner.
Boner.
I mean, Agnes was making jokes like that ever since episode 1. We should have
Right.
seen it coming.
I guess
But I'm
there's,
bummed.
I guess they're still I guess they're still married too, because now she's still the nosy neighbor, right? So I guess
Howdy, neighbor.
Wow.
yeah. All right.
Got
so,
some Ned Flanders
Maybe they'll
in
have a
there.
love child together.
Really quick, we want to thank our patrons, without whose patronage we wouldn't be able to do not only Heroes and Droids, but the Heroes and Droids and Douglas Horror News Radio and Gruesome Magazine. I'm getting tired. Can you tell? Thank you guys so much.
It's like all the little nice people who live in our community, right?
Yes.
Our own little Westview.
On their
Okay.
under their own accord.
Yeah,
Yes.
They're
Yes.
all-
None of them are named Ralph Boner.
No bonus. But
You don't know that.
Or
What about-
are they?
or are they? All right, let's do this. Slattman, what is your final thoughts? Your score 1 to 5 and your favorite team?
Score is a 5.
Yeah.
I loved it. This episode was great. This series was great. Everything about it was excellent. I loved that that we had a show that we could theorize. I love that we had a show that was so good from beginning to end. It kept us engaged. It wasn't a show that you could sit there and go, oh well, I know where Act 3 of this story is going. I'm just going to check out and just, you know, click. I'm going to mute it and push play when the action starts. You know, like I feel like so many superhero movies, a part of the superhero fatigue has been that where it's been very predictable. It's been very and this exceeded expectations beyond belief, because it really is a great introduction into the next phase of Marvel, and it's showing us that they're willing to take more risks, they're willing to do more things, and I'm super excited to see what we get. And I can't wait until Marvel gets weird. I'm so once again we have to give props to all of the actors, all the actresses, all of the production crew, all of everyone behind the scenes, from writers to sound designers to set designers, to costumers, everybody. Everyone did a great job. There's so many little things in this show that you can see from in the background that are that's excellent. And then I cannot think of one. I can't think of a single performance that I would label as bad. Everybody did, at the very least, did a good job, but most people did an excellent job.
Absolutely.
Everybody in our lead cast was fantastic, and I really think it's Elizabeth Olsen, right?
It is.
Yeah, I think she nailed it, and I cannot wait to see what she has in store, or what's coming next for her, because she did an excellent job, and I feel like she really got to show off her acting chops in this, and I'm so happy with what we got, and I really hope she gets at least nominated for awards from this. It'd be great if she won something.
Yes, it would.
So yeah, it's excellent, it's great, it's fantastic, it's marvelous, if I may.
Marvelous.
And I'm so excited for what's coming up.
My
My favorite scene in this last episode was the Vision battle.
Oh, nice.
Where they fight with philosophy.
I do like that.
Yeah.
And it's so Vision, it's so perfect. I loved it, and it was such a great way to resolve the Vision's arc of becoming alive again, without it being, while still giving that finality to Wanda's arc as well. It was great. It's great writing, and it's obviously setting up for something in the future, and that's what's great about it. Or that's another reason why it's great.
There you go. All right, Vanessa, you are up next. Your final thoughts, your score, favorite scene?
Yeah, I agree with Chris. I absolutely loved this series. I loved how unique and original it was. I love the way they approached it. I love that they kept it week by week serialized. You know, we've discussed that a few times, but I really honestly think that makes a difference. After being able to binge so many things, and you just get bombarded and tired of what's out there, and so much, and nothing's new, nothing's surprising, nothing keeps you waiting, and this show really did. And it's something that Disney is kind of bringing back into the game, is giving people this something to have expectations for. And it has been a lot of fun, at times exhausting, but more fun to come up with different theories and to just take this story in so many directions and have fun with it, and to still be so satisfied with the ending that we received. I think this is such a wonderfully complete story from beginning to end. And as I said earlier, I really appreciate how they allowed this to be a story about beginning and ending with Wanda and Vision. That it was their story, that it was Wanda's pain and hurt, and Vision, so much of Vision too, because you don't necessarily think of him sometimes as a character that, like one of our human characters, but this really gives him such a level of humanity, and you see how much he's been through, it's coming from Jarvis, and then being brought to life by Ultron, and then being destroyed twice, and then having to go through this and find out who he is again. God, I'm gonna cry just thinking about just Vision's story arc and how touching and beautiful that is. And Elizabeth Olsen, Paul Bettany, just absolutely fantastic, phenomenal performances. But on top of that, Catherine Hahn,
Yes,
just showing up in this show and proving how seasoned and wonderful of an actress she is, how her comedic timing is as sharp as a knife, and how she can be dramatic, and her as fully developed Agatha is one of my favorite things that I've seen. I loved her character development, seeing her, or her, not her character development, but her character design, and seeing her fly through the air, kind of like this wisp, like a ghost, like a witch that we're used to seeing flying through the air, was just so great. So I absolutely give this series a 5.
Nice.
Overall. There's no way not to. If we don't give series like this a 5, and like Mando a 5, then like what do we have to complain about? If we can't appreciate something like this. And my favorite scene, like the whole thing. Can I make the whole thing my favorite scene? Honestly, it's just so good. It's so a complete package, but all the emotional scenes, of course, stand out to me. But I honestly love the battle between Agatha and Wanda, and seeing Wanda become the Scarlet Witch.
Yes.
Her finally coming fully into her form and herself, and just being told, like, you've made this huge mistake. You're going to kill everything. You're going to destroy the world. Like, okay, what is she supposed to do? And there's just so much to that too. She's still being told how horrible and terrible she is, no matter what she does. And that's super powerful to take out of this. And I just love it. I love her look. I loved the Scarlet Vision's look, or the Scarlet
Witch. Scarlet Vision's kind of awesome too.
The Scarlet Vision. Maybe that's what will happen in the future. That's what they'll become. No, the Scarlet Witch. I loved her look. Fantastic series. I'm sad it's over.
Mm-hmm. All right, Christopher G. Moore, the floor is yours. Your final thoughts. Your score, favorite scene. We have 2 minutes. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, how dare you! By the way, one of my favorite TikToks is a guy like, I hope nobody dresses up as the Scarlet Witch this year, because I think I love the. I mean, here's the thing. This is a comic book story, but it has this heartfelt narrative that goes into pain, anguish, torment, and sorrow. It goes into this character who's spent their whole life trying to find their place in the world, but the place that they grew up in was destroyed. The people that they grew up with were destroyed. The people that they love were destroyed. And they don't, and then, people have called them many things, and they get constantly reminded of their mistakes, and I think we can all relate to that to some point, to some degree, because we've all lost people that we love. We've all made mistakes that we feel bad for, and we wish we could go back and change. We all wish we could have magic to fix it, but a lot of times, you can fix a crack as much as you want, but sometimes, the dam's going to burst no matter how many times you throw some Gorilla Glue into it,
Gorilla Glue.
So, or you try to fix your hair with Gorilla Glue and you realize it doesn't work that way. So yeah, and I think Marvel has done some of their best storytelling within the mold of this show, because they've taken so many chances. This show was supposed to have been like the fourth thing that dropped on the fourth thing that came from like Marvel, and wasn't supposed to be one of the first things spilled out by Disney Plus. And I think it's brilliant. I mean, and I think the main thing is just putting the heart into the storytelling to where you care about the characters and you care about the story arc and you feel for those characters and you feel for their pain. And regardless of it not being perfect in tying up all the loose ends, as much as I want to see more of Darcy and I want to go off into the sunset in her funnel cake van so we can live happily together, in my perfect world.
Darcy verse.
Yeah, my Darcy verse. But yeah, and to have a show that creates so much conversation, that creates so many theories that people talk about. One of my favorite things has been coming together every week with you guys and talking about this show. Because there's not many shows you can have so much sort of like fervor and passion about. And I think the way it wrapped up is just perfect. It's the perfect little thing that we don't necessarily have to have, other, expansion of this WandaVision show beyond just the characters going off into other stories. I think it perfectly encapsulates grief and love and overcoming a lot of those things to find the inner person that you are, and trying to learn from your mistakes and trying to be a better person because of it. And I think that's the best thing you can take away from the show. I mean, this is 5 out of 5, 10 out of 10, 20 out of 20, 100 out of 100, million out of million, whatever. As for favorite scene, it's going to be the ugly cry scene for me. I mean, just that scene between, which is like you talk about, like, oh, we went back into the Marvel stuff with the fights and the anime fights in the sky and stuff, but it still goes back to the simple fact of these two people standing there, almost like the end of Fight Club, where they just see this sort of like the end of this, the end of this sort of hex, and you see them facing the inevitable that, and then just to say that, like, you're now I'm crying.
I know
you're the sadness and you're the hope and you're the love. You're the the mind stone, those pieces of the mind stone that it's inside of me is part of you. And that's and you always see those little memes about like the perfect man doesn't exist, ... Vision is the perfect man, even though he's an android or whatever. That's the kind of guy I want to be. I think that's the guy most women would want to have if relationship wise, because he's like perfect in that respect. And to see that moment where Vision has that tear, I was like, yeah. I'm done.
Yeah. Yeah. Even when he says back to her too about meeting again, we've met and lost each other before, and we're going like,
because she's already had to lose him twice previously. Mm-hmm. But now she has that acceptance because she's the one that's letting him go for once. She has the control, but she's also knows that just because she's letting go of this sort of creation that's created from her grief, but she also he's always going to be a part of her no matter what. And that's most people have to deal with grief, loss. That's something you take with you. You can't shut out everything and create your own fantasy world around it. Sometimes you have to have acceptance, but doesn't mean you have to shut out everything. So yeah, I think this show is brilliant and it has so much heart. And I never thought a guy in makeup and a metal soul patch would bring out so much emotion in me. I'm like, I was like, I don't know if I'm just getting older, just getting, open to emotions, but,
going soft, man, going soft.
But I never thought a comic book story. I think this has more heart than any kind of drama out there, in my opinion, because regardless of all the fantasy and all the special effects, it still comes down to those people and the relationships and how you make those to where you can relate to regardless of all the fantasy elements. So yeah, I love this show so much, and I'm sorry I've talked too much.
No, I appreciate it. Hey, what he said. This show is so bold and so inventive and so original and so heartwarming and so funny and so exciting. It doesn't fail. It has flaws. I mean, for me, I pointed out flaws early on, but even with those flaws, it's still perfect, right? Flaws and all. The performances are outstanding, especially from our leads. Elizabeth Olsen has impressed me greatly with what she accomplished in this. Paul Bettany has proved that he actually is quite funny, and I would watch him in anything now. And Catherine Hahn is a revelation. She's so funny and wonderful in this. And there's, you can keep going, right, to the rest of the cast. This is Marvel's accomplishment. I mean, yeah, we had Endgame, which is probably the best superhero movie to happen to accumulate what 10 years of stuff into that, and then but this is the accomplishment. This is where all the emotions and everything ties in. This is the Love You 3000 amped up to 10, right? Really enjoyed it. I like that it didn't have to give in to some of the things that we wanted to, that it had its own choices, boners and all. That didn't come out right, but you know what I mean. So yeah, 5. I still gotta give it a 5. I love these two characters too from way back, and to get the show based on them and so successful and so emotionally wrought and rewarding is a joy, and get a really awesome version of Agatha Harkness that, like you said, she's plopped in a pocket. When we're ready for her, we know where she is, right? Okie dokie artichokey, I think you said, Christopher, right? So, my favorite scene, my favorite scene. Gosh, there's so many. Which one do I want to pick? I'm going to cheat, and I'm going to choose the air battle with. I know that Vanessa picked that too, but I was just so surprised how that turned, and I thought, wow, that really works. That's exactly what needed to happen. She needed to turn the tables on her using her own stuff and learning from what she said she didn't. And the fact that the resolution is that you don't know what you've done. Setting all that up. Yeah, you won, and realizing that Agatha realizing, oh crap, she won. I'm done. But realizing what is going to come regardless of whatever happens to her, it's all such drama, right? Now, of course, the emotional beats that happen after that are far superior, but Christopher claimed those, and I'm not going to steal those away from him either, because they're well deserved. But it was just that actualization of what this character is. Seeing the Scarlet Witch. Finally, right? We've had Wanda, but we've called her the Scarlet Witch just because we know her as a Scarlet Witch, but she's never really been the Scarlet Witch until this episode, and that's kind of cool. That's kind of really a cool nod to all the superhero fans out there and the Marvel universe and everything to establish it in such a very specific and not drawn out, that's the wrong word, but very calculated way, not just like boom, here's the Scarlet Witch, which kind of was how she was introduced, but that wasn't it, right? It was all this as well. Loved it. I'm gonna shut up now, and thank Marvel for creating and being bold and brave enough to do this. Thank you.
By the way, the two people that did the commercials, they're people that live in the Westview.
Yeah, I know.
The director confirmed that in the show, and I'm like, it's kind of weird that they have those moments where you just have to pop them, do your commercial, and you go back to being frozen.
Oh no! How hard? Like, can I have my daughter? Can she come out of the room so I can hold her?
God, that's
there's some dark stuff buried under this.
Very much, especially when she chokes all of them during that one scene.
I mean, she's kind of the bad guy. You know, she's done some bad things here.
She's
I
on
mean,
that
doesn't
cusp.
know. She doesn't know.
And we didn't even talk about the scroll.
Well,
What?
I mean, that's Captain Marvel 2. Like that's
Well, I think that's the only thing that felt kind of underwhelming to me. It's like, come on, just say she's gonna meet like, you know, Samuel
just-
Jackson.
It
come on,
would've
just
been-
come on, say it. Why do you gotta make it all mysterious?
it would have been better if Samuel L. Jackson appeared like on the screen in the cinema and was just
Yeah,
like,
why
"Hi,
did you bring him
Monica
in the-
Hi, Rambo. I need to talk to you."
or Captain Marvel, you know,
Or even
you
if
know,
Colby Smulders was down there, it was just like,
Yeah.
"Hi, I need to, I have someone that needs to talk to you." Like, just be more obvious.
or Deadpool
Yeah.
shows up.
Regardless, I like that they're playing the scrolls because we know that Secret Wars is coming.
Secret Wars is gonna happen at some point. So
Not Secret Wars, Secret Invasion.
Secret
Secret Wars
Invasion.
probably will. Secret Wars probably will.
Secret
too,
Wars.
just saying. But Secret Invasion. Let's get out of here. Slattman, Vanessa, Christopher, thank you all so much for joining me for this hour and 11 minutes of fun. Thank you for hanging out with me. This was a blast.
Yeah,
So
thanks
much
for
fun.
having us. This has been an excellent 2 months.
It has.
Yeah.
It has.
Yeah.
Oh, before we leave, can we just talk about how badass the costume is that they made for Scarlet Witch and how great it looks updated into
love
the 2021.
Yeah, she looks fantastic in it.
Yeah.
too. Yep.
I can't wait to see more of that costume in future movies. It looks so sleek and so good.
or at conventions.
Yeah, for sure.
We're definitely going to see cosplay fodder for there. All right, guys, let's say goodnight.
Good night.
Good night.
Okie dokie, artichoke.
to.